I don't know, what if I just buy this thing and I stop trying to build a boat?
Hi, I'm Joe, and welcome to MotorCity Boat Works. Let's get to work. If you're new to the channel, I want to welcome you, and if you're one of our returning subscribers, welcome back to the show. Today, you may notice that I'm not in the boat works. This is going to be another extra special episode. I'm not working in the boat works, but I am still working on the boat. MotorCity Boat Works is my retirement boat shop. It's where I restore old sailboats, and now I'm working on a 1986 Albin 27 family cruiser. I'm going to use this boat in my retirement for some extensive long-term cruising in the United States, in the Pacific Northwest, down into Mexico, and I dream of taking it to Europe. Every week, I try to do a video talking about some aspect of my boat building project. I try to cover the things that are not normally talked about on YouTube, the nuances of amateur boat restoration and boat building, stories of boat motivation. If you've been watching the channel, you know that my wife and I sometimes travel. It's something we've committed to since I've retired. We now travel all over the world. And even though I'm away from the boat works, I'm always thinking about the boat, always looking for boat motivation and ideas that will help me in the restoration of my pocket trawler. This time, I've traveled all the way to the Netherlands, to the Dutch province of Friesland, south of the Wadden Sea. We've chartered a Dutch steel trawler and will be cruising 14 days through the Friesland region along Dutch rivers, canals, and lakes. This is a bucket list trip for me. This is a third attempt. The first two were foiled by work and the COVID-19 pandemic. There's a second reason for taking this trip, and that's to try out all sorts of boat components, things that I might want to put into my own boat restoration. I have to admit, there's a third reason for taking this trip. Sometimes I think about just giving up, just quitting my boat project and just buying a boat. Could a Dutch steel trawler be what I'm looking for? Over the next couple of videos, we'll talk about the trip and we'll talk about some lessons learned. First-hand experiences from cruising in a pocket trawler. I think it's going to be very informative, and I hope you stick with me.
Hello, Boat Works?
Hey, can you hear me?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, I'm checking to see what you're doing.
Yeah, you know, everything's kind of good,
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, well, the octopus got stuck in the fluter valve, and now I'm having to clean that up, and so I'll get right on that, and then we'll be back. I'm working on it. Don't worry.
What?
It's all under control. Don't worry.
Listen, you need to be working on the boat.
Don't you worry about what I'm doing. You just enjoy your trip.
Listen, there's a lot of stuff that's got to be done on the boat. We're reaching phase 2. We're going to be getting ready to start putting in all the systems. You got to lay everything out. You got to start sourcing equipment. You got to start buying everything. We've got to get it installed. Hey, hello. Now I want to apologize. Before we get started, I want to make sure everyone understands that I don't speak Dutch and I don't speak Frisian language. So if I've mispronounced the names of different places or items or things, well, please forgive me.
Good morning. Good morning. We're in the Netherlands in a region called Friesland. It's kind of to the northeast of Amsterdam. Friesland has a rich history dating back to the 4th century BC. It has its own language. It's known as one of the best sailing and boating destinations in all of Europe. What makes it so great is that virtually all of the towns are connected by waterways, which means it's a fantastic cruising destination. Our 14-day trip will take us just under 100 nautical miles all through the region. It should give us a real taste of this part of the Netherlands. So we chartered a boat from an exceptional company called Yacht Charter Weterville, based in Ternate, Netherlands. They offer a variety of boats, and we've chosen a 9-meter steel Dutch trawler. It's called a Simmerskip 900. Simmerskip in Frisian language means summer boat. The 900 refers to the length of the boat. It's 900 centimeters, 9 meters, which is just under 30 feet.
It's about 8.5 to 9 feet wide. It runs off of a single 40 horsepower Nanny diesel engine. It's very similar to the Albin 27 that I'm restoring back in the boat works. The only difference is this boat is made of all steel, so it's quite a bit heavier. It weighs about 18,000 pounds. In another episode, I'm going to go over some specifics on measurements of the interior of the boat and its configuration. But for now, you can get an idea of what the main salon area looks like, the steering position, which is the helm, the galley area, and this is the head area. This is an electric toilet, has pressure water throughout the entire boat. It carries almost 100 gallons of water and has a holding tank of about 40-50 gallons. The main sleeping accommodations are in a V berth at the forward end of the boat.
Today, I'm going to be cooking some breakfast. It's about 9 a.m. We're in the town of Sneek, Netherlands, and we're tied up on the quay here, and we're going to be having breakfast, and then we'll go do a walkabout town. It's Sunday morning. We're going to do bacon and egg croissants in the galley of our boat, and we'll see what works, what doesn't work. It'll give us some ideas of how to do the galley in the Albin 27. This is a very simple galley, right? This is about 48 inches long, 4 feet. It's about 24 to maybe 27 inches deep. It's a simple Formica countertop. What I like about the counter is that there's a lot of space and everything's kind of got its own room, right? You have a decent sized sink. This sink is relatively deep. It's about 8 inches deep, so it's easy to clean dishes. A deep sink on a boat is nice to have. The only option is whether you want to have two shallow sinks so you can rinse and then wash. This is something we'll be thinking about on the Albin 27. The stove is a gas stove, LP gas. The bottle tanks are on the outside in a special compartment built into the steel decks. Basically, it's very simple to use. I'll light it up and we'll start cooking some bacon and eggs. On the Albin 27, I think we're going to go with some type of an induction stovetop, just because, well, they're easier to use, they're quite efficient, and it rules out any type of gas problems or any sort of safety stuff you have to worry about with LP gas. It's relatively simple, and for a long-term liveaboard, it works pretty great, especially if you're hooked up to shore power. So we've got basically a little mini fridge inside here, and believe it or not, it actually has a freezer compartment. It makes ice cubes. It runs off of 12 volt. It's amazing. It's gotten so cold we actually had to turn it down because my beer was starting to freeze. There's some basic storage underneath here. And that's what's awesome, because you can have full-size normal kitchen utensils, pans, and whatever, and you don't have to worry about things fitting inside the boat. Behind the countertop is some great storage for plates and bottles, cups, cooking gear. This is what you want to see in a liveaboard galley. Something that's practical, but also really makes use of the space. All right, so while that's going, let's do this here. Eggs we're done with. Oh, look at this. This is gonna be good. There's some tastiness. Look at that. Croissant with a Dutch fried egg, little bit of Dutch cheese, and this is basically some type of pork. There might even be some ham inside here because we kind of mix and matched, but it's going to be amazing. Would you like a little pepper on there?
Oui.
Oh, look at that. Bon appetit. I think one of the things that I like about the pilot house is that you got 360 degrees all around you. It's kind of nice. And in the main cabin here, you know, it's real airy. It's a great place to sit and have breakfast. Now, this is totally enclosed like a cabin. We're going to have a three-season room, basically, in the cockpit of the Albin 27. I think it's going to work out just as good. We'll have flexible, what's called isinglass. It's kind of a plastic clear, type of see-through vinyl that will hang down, and it will totally enclose the cockpit area of the Albin 27. Sneek, Netherlands is known for boating. This is the water port.
the gate to the town. 6 of the towns we'll be visiting in Friesland are part of what's known as the 11 Cities route. This is an ice skating route. Ice skaters will skate between the towns on the frozen canals during the winter months. It's a real public spectacle. Each of those towns is commemorated with a unique water fountain. It's just a blast to get off the boat and go walk about town, maybe sit out and have a beer and watch the boats go by.
This is awesome. We're on our way to Slotten this morning, and so far it's been just amazing. It's a little bit overcast and it rains on and off, but otherwise the weather's cool and it's quite pleasant. It's just amazing the amount of boats and the boating infrastructure that's here. It's just unlike anything we have in the United States. What a boating mecca. Right now we're crossing Slotten Lake, and we've got a beam sea coming on from the side over here, from the starboard side. It's blowing pretty good.
So the way the moorings work is each town has multiple marinas, just like we do in the United States. But each town also has municipal moorings. These are spots where you can tie up right on the side of the canal, sometimes right in the center of town, right below a windmill, right up against some historic building. The spots are marked, and there's electricity and potable water. You sign up for them online and pay by credit card, or the harbor master will come around and actually collect the fees from you. For our boat, it cost about $10 to $16 per night to tie up in the center of town. Municipal moorings also have public restrooms with a key code that give you your access 24/7. Some towns also have free Wi-Fi.
It's lunchtime, and we stopped at what's known as a Americrite along the side of the canal. Americrite is a free mooring. They're all over the Friesland region, and you can pull over, you can stay overnight. There's no power, there's no water, but they do have trash pickup. They're kind of in rural or remote areas right next to nature, and it's just a fantastic place to kind of stay overnight, or maybe take a break in the afternoon.
The town of Slotten originated in the 13th century. It's a popular day trip location. The town is almost completely surrounded by a moat, essentially made up of the canals, and the original ramparts, the defensive positions, overlook the waterways. This morning I wanted to talk about and show how we come up with the route that we're going to be taking during the day. Every morning on our trip, we have to figure out where we're going to go and how we're going to get there. And this has kind of become the routine as we wake up in the morning, and we have some nice strong coffee and maybe an apple fritter that we get at the local store or the local market. And then we kind of sit around and start studying the charts and the guidebooks to try and get an idea of, well, where are we going to go today and how long is it going to take us to get there? This is a vital part of doing one of these type of DIY boat trips, because you really got to plan ahead of time to kind of have an idea of what to expect, but more importantly, to kind of know where it is you're going, where you want to end up. All right, so there's a couple things that we have to use to kind of figure out where we are and where it is we're going. And I guess the first thing is we've got our trusty guidebook. This is a guidebook that I purchased on the internet
There are a couple of them out there, some of them kind of commercially made, but this one is done by a private individual originally back in about the mid-2000s, and it's been updated every year since. It's called the Cruising the Canals and Rivers of the Netherlands, and it's proved to be a pretty good piece of information. It's got some details about what to expect in each town, how to do the approaches to the town, little tidbits on kind of where the marinas and the free moorings are and stuff like that. It's a necessary piece of information. The second thing we have is our trusty guidebook that the yacht charter company provided us, which has some pre-printed maps of different routes and stuff, and it kind of gives us an overview of kind of where we're going. This is helpful because while you're planning these, because of the Dutch language and the Friesland language, it's very difficult to kind of remember the differences between the towns. Some of the towns sound very similar or spelled very similar, and it can be confusing to an English speaker. So it's helpful to kind of be able to reference geographically where things are using large macro version maps and then smaller details. The charter company provided us with a set of maps up front. They basically look like this. They're waterproof maps, and they kind of cover all of the region that you might be moving around in. And they're really quite large, and they're super, super detailed. They're so detailed that, you know, for someone who's a little older wearing bifocals, I can tell you it can be difficult trying to actually see what is going on these charts. They're very, very detailed. So we've had to use the magnifying app on our iPhones to be able to actually zoom in and see all the detail of like the harbors and the city centers to understand where everything is located. You really need to spend some time and make sure you understand kind of the legend of the map, what all these annotations mean, what certain Dutch words mean, so you understand exactly what is going on. You can't wait until you're underway and you're trying to study this while driving down the canal. It's a recipe for disaster. You need to spend some time ahead of time and really kind of understand what's going on. We're making great progress this morning. We're on our way to a town called Bolsward, and we're going to be stopping there overnight and then moving on our way to the coast to a town called Harlingen. It's day 5. It's awesome. It's really spectacular. The scenery and the number of boats and the facilities and kind of how the whole region is set up to handle boating. It's just, it's extraordinary. It's everything you thought a boating mecca would be if it was done properly. The Dutch really know what they're doing.
Bolsward was first mentioned in the 700s. It was a medieval town that was used for trading along the North Sea and the Middle Sea. One of the most famous things in the town is a church from the 13th century. It burned down in 1980, but in 2000 it was refurbished with an all-glass ceiling. This is just an amazing space, all the light and texture.
We had a little bit of a surprise this morning. We got ready to leave and we found out from the harbor master that all of the bridges in Friesland are closed. It's due to a wind advisory. Once the bad weather passes through the region, then they'll open all the bridges, of course, which gives you access to the canals and stuff. It's the worst rain and windstorm they've had in the summer in the Netherlands ever. 145-mile-an-hour gusts. One person already killed, several injured. Please join me next episode when we continue our journey and I discuss some real-world lessons learned from our Friesland adventure. In the meantime, Catch up on the boat restoration plan for my Albin 27 pocket trawler.